What's it like trying to change the culture of a business from the inside out? Well, I have two gentlemen today, Fred Lennartz and Lou Ramirez. They're both car dealers on a mission. They are trying to change the culture of working in a dealership to make it more fun, give people careers, and also to change the perspective of how customers feel doing business with car dealers. They are on a mission, as they say, to bring this caffeinated culture of fun and great experience to the car industry. They have a new podcast out. They have a new agency that's helping dealers. There's so much for us to unpack, and it was such a blast to talk with them. They are so much fun. I can't wait to share. So let's dive into today's episode of You're in Charge with the Certified Solutionaries. All right, so I'm really excited. Here they are in person, Fred Lennartz, Lou Ramirez. These guys are the Certified Solutionaries, Coffee Guy podcast. We're excited. So we got so much to cover. So let's dive right in. You guys a few years ago, and we talked about it in the pre-show thing, talking about how you guys have been honored with best place to work in Kentucky as a car dealer. Like, okay, sometimes those two things don't go together. But what you said, your mission, what you wanted to take charge of was changing the idea of working in car dealerships or doing business with car dealerships. So let's dive into that. What does that mean? Why is it important to you? And then let's get into the tactical. How are you doing it?
That is an incredible stacked question. He asks questions the way I'd love to see them layered.
He does love those kind of questions.
Brick by brick, brother, I honor you. We appreciate you. Thank you so much for having us and letting us have the opportunity to share some of the heart behind the matter. But to answer the question in detail, I mean, is shows worth of content, right? And we're to crunch it down and really just extract and brew something real out of it. Ultimately, we want to join those that are a chorus of trying to change the industry in the way that it operates inside of their home, and then inside of their business, and then inside of their communities. And we believe that there's a mentality shifting that's happening, that has to happen inside of the exposure and the transparency of the industry, that we believe that this better way of doing business, where we actually genuinely try to lift people up and help each other out,
right,
is the way that we translate all things. So as a certified solutionary, we're always finding a opportunity to jump into the darkness where people are percolating problems, and we commit to brewing a solution, finding a way to help, and doing that on the individual basis and then on a bigger corporate scalable model.
Right.
Hopefully I've stirred up enough inside of that to answer that.
and I love that. Just to touch us real quick on that, and his words, I echo those, and that's exactly right. You know, and what we're doing is we're trying to do that in this culture in the car business, but in return, what we've learned is that it's just called being a good human being and just being the best version of yourself every single day.
Right.
Consistency is really key with a lot of this stuff, and we'll get into that here in a little bit, but it takes work, folks. It's not easy, but at the same time, the work is so worth it because you're doing things that are amazing. You're changing people's lives.
Yes.
It's not just the customers, but it's your employees, it's yourself, it's your family at home, your children, their children. You know, if you do this right, this business can bring so much, and it does so good in the right way. You don't have to do it like the way that people think of us, and that's that stigma we all have to overcome.
We're here to slay that stigma.
So we're ready to slay that stigma, no doubt about it. And you know, we have a lot of people doing it right now, and it's fun because that frequency of love and that frequency of growth right now and change is really strong. Glenn, you're on that. That's why we love being here, and we're honored to be here with you.
Appreciate it.
We have another Glenn with the double N's, and that's Glenn Lundy. And I absolutely love him too. He's one of our mentors
with the double D,
right?
Yeah,
so that's it, man. And it's so much fun to be around people that support that. There's no hate right now. Right now, I've never seen so much love in the business. So it's time for us to rise up, us solutionaries, and make sure that we do the right thing and show the future that this business has opportunity. Just like being a doctor, a lawyer, you can do well. You can do so well. It just takes effort, consistency, love, faith. So I can keep going on and on about what it takes, but it's all stuff from your heart being true. And if you are true, the skies are blue, and it's amazing.
So let's go. Someone's going to be listening to what you both said, and they're going to get pumped up and inspired. And then once that sugar high rushes off, weans off, they're going to go, I have no idea what they just said in terms of what I can do. So roll yourself back a little bit when your brain clicked in to said, I want to take charge. I want to do something different, right? That's the point of this. Like, we're sparking change, but we can get excited about something and then not know where to focus our energy. So for you guys, when that spark hits you to say, I need to change, or my goal is to change this bit, what were some of the things that you had to plan out or do in order to generate some of these results?
It's definitely making sure that you fight for that focus on what it is that you're wanting to actually do, who you're trying to help, and then who's done similar to that. Becoming a student of that, whether it's understanding how to close your car deal, and seeing how is it that this person conducts business from hello to goodbye, and after the goodbye, seeing how that's portrayed properly is what we've tried to do from our beginning time in the car business, whether it was me jumping on the floor, watching Fred activate, a customer from no way, no how am I doing anything, to being the loudest fan, for the hero that they just experienced, purchasing a car with. Took notes from that. So I would heavily advise anybody to wipe off any of the weight from anything that's failed before, but focus on what it is that you're actually trying to do, not the distractions, not the things that hurt you from getting it done. Focus on what it is that's actually you're wanting to get done. And I promise you'll go where you gaze. So I would say find people to mentor you, see people that are doing it great, right? We have great examples in the industry. Again, whether it's the veteran on the lot that we can glean from, or it's the Glenn Lundys that know how to be master communicators of their message, ultimately get that across. Find those people that often you'll find have a wide open door to pouring out the solution that you're trying to, or you're needing, right?
100%.
So but let me push back just for a second again. So again, you watched Fred and you said, I watched what he was doing. So there's two parts of this. One, were you able, or did your brain say, I have to look at what he's doing, right? I always say actions cause results, because Fred could have the phenomenal personality, outgoing like both of you do. But let's say I'm more low key or easygoing, and you're looking at the both of you and say, I can't do that, like the rapping versus breaking down the step by step and say, no, here are the 5, 6, 7 steps that Fred did that then you can train on, right? So that's the first part. So let's talk about that. Is that something that you build in your dealerships to help other people be successful?
Absolutely.
Yes.
And that's to his point, and to every point to that. And I love what you're going with this, is that it takes accountability first, and that's why when we started when it started with the Car Guy Coffee, when it started with Double Dragon, Lou, you know the deal, right? So we started back when we first, almost 20 years ago, on the floor, and it was already a partnership back then. We just didn't know how to market it right. We were young, and we didn't have the full confidence yet. We were swagging, though. We knew what we were good, and we were in a business that we can have huge potential, but we were put in front of great people. So accountability was a start from us. We had accountable management. They taught us skills, and they put us accountable for knowing how to do those skills on a daily basis, making sure, do you know your steps? Do you know this? How do you answer a phone call? Here's scripts for it. Here's what you need to do. Right. So accountability is key. He's my accountability partner. Like with a workout, anything, my podcast partner, everything. I know that he depends on me. I depend on him. I trust him 100% with everything. He trusts me 100% everything. So that's the first key for you to be able to get potential. I know it's scary when you don't have the natural ability, gift to gab, but none of us really do. Right. Not one person in the world just came out and started, hey man, what's going on, bro? It's nice to meet you. Appreciate, it all takes time, but what it does, it's one step at a time, 1% better every single day. We have a 90-day program that we believe can help people grow exponentially in social media, which for me, if anybody knows me recently, I'm less than 2 years on social media. Look where I've done, and I'm just saying, and all 100% organic. And it's just consistency is key. Accountability is very key, but passion and doing what you want to do. It has to be you. Be authentic. I'm not trying to be Glenn, Glenn's not trying to be me. I'm not even trying to be Lou.
Right.
Lou is him. You guys hear how he speaks? Amazing words, just so scripture based. And I love it. It's so deep. And it makes my heart just patter with listening to him talk. Sometimes I get amazed, right? I'm like, wow,
Thanks, bro.
his wordsmithing is amazing. And I'm more of a direct bam, bam, punch you in the mouth. And then I come back and I love you back, but it's all direct. And it's because that's the way I was raised up. That's who I am. But that's why the vinegar and oil really mixes really well and tastes good together, right?
But I think that's where, for both of you, what you said, and I hope the audience doesn't miss it, is when you guys both, you were saying 20 years ago or however, someone laid out a plan. I think the problem that's a lot of times with the car industry or multiple industries, because I've worked in multiple industries, and that was as I told you early on, that was the genesis of this podcast, was people get thrown in thinking they're going to figure it out, or it's all personality driven. And you lose out on those people that are solid performers that will deliver consistent results if they have a framework. They just can't see the framework. So for you, you were lucky or blessed that someone early on gave you the framework and then sort of put the guardrails up, held you accountable, and then let your personality drive out, right? And go, run down fast. I think, and what I'm hearing is you're now passing that on to your team to say, here are the steps. You may personality wise approach it differently, but we have to hit the steps or else we're not going to be successful.
So if I was to give it in one word, and it would be one of the very first steps inside of our system to helping you develop that persona or that lifestyle, is identify or identity, right? Know who it is that you are. Know why you're even here. So when breaking down the example of watching Fred or watching another guy on the lot, I saw the result. I am there to feed my family by the result of the commission I attained from selling the car, right? That's the deed that has to occur. How he did it, I need to take notes of how his personality did it and achieve that, and that I have authority to adapt my personality to seeing that become part of the same result for the entire team. That's congruent with the dealership's thought of how it should be consistently across the board. Though we all do it differently, we still do it unified. I felt freedom in that. And that's where back then we developed our own names, right? I became the car guy.
We were branding before we knew. And I was Mr. Hills with the Z at the end, right?
We started to put out there this entire flow of, this is how we want it to be known. We understand there's much competition, but we just want to be that person to you. So understanding relationship was key with an identity, was important. And then once you're properly identified, you know what fruit you're going to bear. And then you have to dig deep roots. And that's what ended up happening. And it's affected much underground, right? There's a lot of roots that connected together that have flourished for grapefruit throughout the industry. But I would say figure out who it is that you are in this and how to apply you in it wholeheartedly. If you can't pour your whole heart into it, you're going to see half-hearted results, right? So
no, I agree. And I think, again, and I like to harp on this just slightly, and we'll definitely keep moving forward, but both of what you're saying, it's very refreshing when I talk to both of you, because you have that, you understand that structure, and you're guiding your people to say, don't focus on the personality per se, focus on the steps. The personality may come, and to your point, I may be able to adapt what you do to maybe what I do. It won't be exactly the same, but it might be a little more, turn up the dial of me a little bit more, but it's that framework. And there's too many people and too many businesses that fail, that either it's driven just because Lou's running it or Fred's running it, and if both of you leave, everything collapses because there's not a structure. I think if more people focus on, look at what they're doing, because you can replicate what they're doing, and then build your personality around that. And I agree with you. And I love what you said. Once I knew what I was doing, I relaxed into it. And that's confidence. And once we get out of our head, because we know the next 3 steps, I can actually listen. Now I can build a relationship with the customer, because I'm not sitting there going, what's the next step? What's the next step? You do that in the beginning.
Yes.
But eventually you're comfortable through consistency, through repetition, right? I'm sure when you guys started your podcast, just like I did, I had a checklist. Don't forget to plug in the camera. How many times did oh, the audio wasn't working, and oh my God, I have to do it again. Now it's you still have your checklist, but you move through it faster, or you're more comfortable in control. So I really like that. So you mentioned earlier, Fred, this idea of culture. And that's another word that gets bandied around and thrown around as, just this one. It's either this miraculous thing that nothing, it just happens to fall down from the skies and, ooh, you have culture, or they think it's some nebulous thing that it's intangible versus something you can actually build. So talk to me about that. When you hear the word or you utter the word culture, what is it to you, and how do you make it or build it or maintain it, or all three?
Culture to me starts with one thing. It's love, right? Because you have to love what you do, love your people, love yourself, because it's important, and that's where it starts. And when you have love it's your interpretation of love. I know when I love, some people are military style, right? But they love and you feel the love. It's consistent and you know what to expect from them. Some people are going to be more of that, hey, let's hug and let's do all this type of stuff. Fantastic. I love that. Some people are right in between. It really comes down to starting there at the top. So once you have the right people on top, the leaders, you have the right people in place that are all on the same mission, and that's loving everything they do, everyone they touch, and everybody that they get to push out into the world, right? And it's leaving legacies. So you start there, start with love. Then you go out and you have to make sure processes are in place. Processes is part of the culture, period, because people have to be understanding that this is what we do and everybody's doing it similar. Now, when it comes to process, like we talked about a moment ago, you do have to have your personalities, and there's going to be tons. The car business is blessed with tons of personalities. I mean, it really is. It's a lot of fun. It makes work different every single day. And that's what is beautiful about our job.
That's every the empty line. Inject personality here, into the process.
Right. That's that line, hi, I'm that, basically that's what it is. But you do that. You get the processes in place, have the right leadership in place. And once you have those things going, it just comes consistent. You have to inspect what you expect. We hear that from Alex Flores. I've heard that since the day I got in the business. It is so key. And then you have to maintain the right attitude. The attitude is definitely a big part of the culture. That's probably one of the main ingredients, right? Attitude, because attitude 100% of the time determines the altitude of the store. So if you want to go high, you got to have a high attitude about everything, and every day be out there having fun, praise people, enjoy them, give them high fives, not just on their first car deal, but on their second, third, fourth, 105th. Sure. I don't care. You give them a high five and you tell them great job. Even if it was a mini and they worked, but they got them there. They got people in those doors. They got them to drive a car, make a commitment. They got them to do all the steps that you asked them to do. Negotiating is tough sometimes. People do their education. It's okay. But they got them to agree to some numbers, high five them, love on them, cheer them, just like the first time you cut their tie. You have to do that. And culture is consistency every single day, doing those things, process, leadership, and then of course, attitude. And if you have those things going, your culture is going to be blossoming, but those things are all determined by the leader. But the right leaders, they do it their way. If they do it their way with consistent level.
So, So when I was in the years and years ago, I was in the restaurant industry, and I had a great mentor in New York City where I worked, and pre-internet, all the rest, you relied on word of mouth, and you relied on the newspaper. If you got a good review, New York Times gave you a good review, you were full. But he always drilled into us that every day we have to deliver this experience. We can't worry about yesterday, can't worry about tomorrow. It's today. And to your point, restaurants are very similar to car dealerships in my mind, because you have your structure and every day is different. One day you're busy, one day you're slow, one famous people are in. And so it's always moving parts. But what I always took away from him is exactly what you said, is that culture, that atmosphere, that energy of the room, that experience that people are interacting with while they're in your building, and then what they share with people when they leave is built. It has to be maintained. It has to be executed by the frontline people. It can be monitored by the top. But he always said, today, what are we doing now? Doors are going to open. We have to deliver this today, because if Fred comes in today and he goes, this was phenomenal, and he tells Lou, and Lou comes in a week later and I deliver horrible, Well, now I lost 2 people, but more Lou's going to say, Fred, don't ever recommend restaurants to me again. You have no idea what you're talking about. But I think sometimes, to your point, is that, but culture sometimes, even from the top, it's just, I said it and forget it. It's that consistency of doing. It's a little like Groundhog's Day. You have to do the same thing over and over and over again, because the minute you stop paying attention to it, your team feels it's not important anymore.
Right.
And they go, well, what do they think is important now? I'll go do that. We want your attention. So you as a leader have to really make sure their attention's on the right thing that drives your business. And the more you encourage them to do that, they'll keep doing it. And the minute you stop, they won't.
Yeah.
So I agree with that.
And at the end of the day, all you want them to do is have the best opportunity, just like a parent with their child. When you made mistakes in the past and you're trying to make sure they don't do that, all you do is you're trying to give them the best tools that they could possibly have, have a future in this business, so they can buy homes, cars themselves, and help their kids go to college, just like we did. This business afforded us so much, and I'm so thankful for it. I mean, I every day, I can't believe how lucky I am that I got in this business, and I'm so thankful for it. And all I want to do is make sure when I get done with this, and I hang it up, that I did so much for this business that it just got better, and I got just a little piece of it, even if I just helped it 1%. And that's all I want to do. And I'm so excited about doing it. So I appreciate you for having me here.
No, and I think that's great, because there is a new generation or a next generation of even people who are in the dealerships that I've met now on Clubhouse and a few other places. You know, their job, and they're saying, is, I want this to be an industry that people want to go work in, not, well, it's a transitory job, right? I'm going to do this until I get X, Y, Z. And when I taught up at Northwood University, you know, their digital marketing class, that was the interesting thing, is that a lot of the students who came in, they didn't realize how big the industry is. And they do a little more, but most people look at, when you say, hey, you're going to work in the car industry, they think it's only selling, versus all the other aspects in the dealership, or just at large. You could be working for vendors, working for the manufacturer, I mean, it's a huge industry. But in the dealership, if you land in the right place, there's so many opportunities for careers, so much it can give you, so many skills it can teach you. But at the same moment in time, it's still fighting that stigma. But little by little by little, the more that your customers leave, they're going to tell people about a great experience they have. And it's got to be a lot of groundwork to win that over, because there's still people out there who are fighting it. Dealers or dealership employees are still setting bad tone. So we still have to go put out the shield and go, you know, get our Avenger shield going and go fight, you know.
And that's what gives us space, right? That's what makes it beneficial, because anybody could go get maybe the same amount of caffeine inside of a small, maybe a pill that you take with a glass of water, right? Or you can get you a cup of coffee, right? And have the full experience. And that's what we're ultimately trying to make sure is consistent across all of it, is that we know as people, as managers, as leaders, as brewers, that we are not going to be what you become. We just want to help put something in your cup that helps you go do your thing, right? That energizes you, that gets that cold
sip that wakes you
right?
up.
It gets you energized.
Caffeinated culture.
And the caffeinated culture is always consistent with contagious confidence.
Right.
And that's what we ultimately want to brew for all people. And we're seeing happen is that when the managers are shifting their gaze to wanting to see the best come out of their people that they're leading, that's when they've actually built an actual army of people that can go accomplish anything. You can knock down whatever goals. If everybody believes that they're grafted in to the overall mission, that they're painted on that canvas too, then man, do they believe and do they charge forward with that mission? And we just want to be consistent in pouring positivity into everybody's cup so that they go do that.
Yeah.
You know,
there's amazing people out there doing a lot of amazing things. What Lou and I believe we bring that caffeinated culture, but what makes it so great is we bring so much fun with it, you know, and we're different with it. We're us, you know, like you talked about people being individuals. We have fun. Yes. We're goofy as they come. When we are down a digital dealer, we're out having fun, but we're so serious. We take this job serious. Trust us. When we're at work, I hold my people accountable. They know what steps need to be in. We make sure deals are getting done. CITs are good. They know that I'm out there to love on them when they need it. They need me to take a turn. I'm going to shut it for them. I'm going to do whatever it takes to make sure that they're happy. Right.
Yeah,
Right.
the customer's got to be laughing in the showroom.
Everybody
If that's
does.
not happening,
But that needs to
something's
be,
wrong.
people need to be having fun, because people buy from people now. It's different than it used to be. People used to buy because it was the best deal. Now it's like, I want to deal with somebody that makes me feel good.
Right.
Somebody
People
that
have
makes
the
me feel
option.
like I'm the only person that they care about right now.
Mhm.
And
Exactly.
when you do that and give them that millionaire experience, hands down, good credit, bad credit, I don't care what kind of credit you have. Even if you can't buy, I'm going to give you a millionaire experience,
Right.
because you're going to come in and I'm going to educate you on how to buy. You're going to come in and you're going to leave with something that says, hey, all I have to do is this and this, and I can buy a car now.
I'm valued.
I'm not just told I can't buy. Oh,
No, I think what Lou just sort of threw in there, it's that idea of creating value for everyone, or making them feel valuable, because listen, we've all been in certain situations. Like I said, I was in New York City years ago. I was an actor, which meant, I worked in restaurants, but there was times where,
Know that?
man, I was broke. Like
back.
people go, oh, you weren't broke. I was like, I was broke going to the happy hour to have a $1 beer so I could eat the food, that broke. And, macaroni, like just macaroni broke. So, or working in a restaurant, that's the only meal I have for the day broke, so you can understand that. And that's the key, is that because those folks, if you make them feel valuable, they're your customer. And then next time, maybe they've worked and now they can get something a little different or a little different. But the key is, we want to go with people who, to your point, is there's understanding for our situation. There's help for our situation. Well, right now you can afford this, but if you do this over the next 2 years, come back, you could do this, you're helping them. And that's where, for you guys, where you keep talking about your solutionaires, that's what people are looking for. Can you fix things for me? Are you my solution? Ideally, they should say, whenever I think about a car, I'm thinking about Fred and Lou, period. Like, I don't want to go to somebody else, right? That's really what I think we're going full circle to that, going back to, I got my car guy, car gal. I don't think about somebody, just like our dentist. We don't change dentists. Why should I change my car dealer if they take care of me?
Yes.
100%.
Come on, because of the relationship is cemented. There's a foundation inside of that relationship that makes it to where you're not distracted by other people that do the same thing, because you found your foundation. This is where I stand, right?
You found your person that you can trust. Like I tell the story, when we were young, my father, I can't remember if it was Pontiacs he was driving, but he bought from his guy. And when his guy went to Ford, guess what? We drove Fords, so it wasn't, oh, I'm a Pontiac guy. It was like, I buy from Ed, and wherever Ed is, that's who. And so you see the different brands. And my father was like, well, Ed takes care of me. I don't even have to think about it. Like, that is where we need to get back to. I think we all got lost in the advertising of price, and price is going to get people, and price gets people to a point. But I think I always say, along the coffee, theme, Starbucks taught us all that people will pay a little more for feeling like they got a great experience, so if you could go to get whatever coffee, I'll make my coffee at home, but there's a reason why people love Starbucks. It's because they write their name on it and they do this. And I feel like I'm in control of my coffee order. Well, if we can translate that to car, where they feel like they're in control, which is a lot of this new digital retail, where I can figure out stuff online, but still I got to come in. Right. And if I'm made to feel like this experience is great, why in God's name would I go anywhere else?
Exactly. It's unfathomable. And that's the craziest part. Like, I have relationships built over the last 20 years, of course. Right. And these relationships, people come to me and they looking for a brand new car. I don't sell new cars. So hey, I'm looking at a brand new Ford. And I'm like, hey, listen, I will help you. They call me for advice, making sure they're getting the right rate. And you know what? I give them honest answers, because I'm like, hey, great deal. Jump on that right now. I totally love that. I love the car business. Like, I tell people, my local dealers, hey, if you ever need help, just call me. I'm here. If you need help on how to structure a deal through subprime, hit me up. That's what I do. Right. So give me a call and I'll help you. I don't look at it as competition. The better the car business is with everybody, culture, you talk about culture. I'm going to just jump on that for one more second. Culture isn't just at your store. Culture needs to be for the whole dang car business. I'm tired of the car business being the way it is, because there's 80% of y'all suck. Sorry. You guys need to get better. Me and Lou are out there trying to help you. I'm not trying to drop the bomb on you or nothing like that, but I'm being honest. You guys know you guys don't do processes right. You don't have anybody accountable. Sure. What you do is point fingers and blame everybody else. time to change your culture. It's time to wake up, caffeinate that bad boy.
Up.
No,
All right.
I listen, I agree with you. I mean, we let people look at me like I'm nuts sometimes because they say, you know, I host events and they go, right. So we have an event next month and there's going to be people there that do sponsors that do what we do. And people go, why would you have sponsors that do what you do? I said, there's enough for everybody. Like, I don't, you know, there's enough, let them go do what they do. And we help each other. Right. And to your point is, if somebody calls you up and says, I want to buy a new car and you say, sure, I'll help you. People say, well, why would you do that? You lost the sale. You're like, no, you're not thinking long-term, because what I am doing is that person who is going to say, well, I can't get a new car, I need a used car. They're going to go, that's the guy you go to, because you've proven value of giving something without expecting something.
But giving that handoff to your customer, to your person you have a relationship with, this is now a friend, and saying, hey, this is my friend that runs this store at the brand you're considering here. When that handover happens and they know that I can fully facilitate that order in a different capacity, but to help them get what they actually want, because I care for them, I lead them to the person that gets them that.
Sure.
My goodness, that's actually helping people, right? And guess what? If I need any help from my friend in the future, I may not ask for it, and I'm not doing it to get something from him, but he is more than willing to try to find a way to help me when I may need it, right? And so that you're sowing seeds.
Yeah, it's exactly it. You're sowing seeds of goodness. You're helping people. And like you said, you may never know when it comes back to you. It comes back to you. It may just not come back to you in the form that you recognize. But if you unpack the story, what happens is they told a friend and they told a friend and they told a friend. And then that person comes around and says, I'm here. You may not connect the dots, but I'm a firm believer. That's the way we've run our business and grew our business. We're figuring if we're helpful to enough people. I get dealers call me all the time. Hey, would you look at this, do this, do this, do this? I'm like, sure, no problem. And people look at me like I'm nuts. I'm like, well, what else am I doing? You know, why can't?
Why would I get in their way?
Well, it's just, they asked me for help. Like, that's it. Like, I'm not knocking on their door to say, let me show you how smart I am. But somebody reached out and said, I have a question and I think you can help me. Well, then it's selfish of you not to help them.
Absolutely.
Oh, thank you.
Period. Selfish of you not to help them. And it's not expecting something in return, because what I get from those interactions is I get inspired. Something they said, something in that conversation may help my business, may help my other clients, because, ooh, I didn't think about that. Then you see what I'm saying? So it's like the octopus. Or like you had said, Lou, it's those roots that go out. You may not see them because you're above ground. You don't see all the roots, but they connect and they help. So let me pivot. I want to pivot here because I don't want to miss this. So talk to me, that there's two parts to this now. You guys are car guys, and all of a sudden, like, first, why the podcast? Okay. So that's it. Taking charge of saying, okay, we're going to go down this road and do this. But then you're also saying now you're starting the Certified Solutionaries, which is help to other people. Talk to me. So I want to talk about first the podcast, why, and then talk to me about this other venture that you're doing, and through the lens of when it got in your head, what was the steps to make it a reality? Because remember, people get a lot of things in our heads and we don't know how to actually lay them on paper, plan them out, and make an attempt. Or as you guys said, find the right mentors, because it's all up here, not out here. So walk me through.
Can I do the podcast?
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, cool. So I'll do the podcast part. So it all started with obviously seeing other people doing things like, you know, Glenn Lundy. Honestly, Glenn was one of the first people that inspired me. Shay Rowbottom, her videos inspired me. And then my buddy Frank, I just interviewed him this morning. He has his own show, and I was actually a guest on his show, and I came in to talk about cryptocurrency because I love it. This was like 4 years ago. And I was, you know, because I was investing many years already. So I've done well. But anyway, that being said, he had me come on his show, and he's a good friend of mine. I've met him because he worked for me years ago on the road. He was one of my salespeople for like the summertime while he was on break from college. And absolutely wonderful young man. I love him. I consider him family. I visit him every time I go to Orlando. Anyway, I was on his show, got inspired by his show. I was like, man, you know, I want to do one. And then things were changing. I was doing different things in my life. I was in a growth moment. You know, I started reading, I started working out again. I started doing these things. And I was like, it's time for me to do something else. And Lou and I had a great experience together. All the time, but we went on his boat trip with all the teams, houseboats, and we just had the best time. Everybody, we were connected that whole weekend, just talking, joking. We could laugh.
Cracking up
We were laughing
the
at each
whole
other. We're
time.
just annoyed. Like we could make a noise and we knew, and it was so
Right.
good. And well, anyway, after I got back from that, it was a little bit time. I thought about the podcast. I didn't want to do it by myself. I needed somebody to hold me accountable because I know myself. I need somebody that makes me push myself. I'm one of those guys, right? So Lou, I know him. I know he would hustle. If he wanted to do it, this is the right guy. He'll always have my back, just like I'll have his.
Right.
I call him up. I said, Lou, I want to do a podcast. And he's like, all right. Hey, I want you to do this with me. And he was like, dude, do you have a name for it yet? I said, no. He goes, I said, why? You have one? He goes, yeah, I do. So what's that? He goes, Car Guy Coffee. And I sat there for a second. I was like, ooh, because I didn't know if I wanted to be a car business one. I didn't know. I just wanted to do a podcast.
Yeah.
And then immediately that made it car business. And I was like, heck yeah, man, let's do this. And we set up a meeting. We got together. We sat and planned it. So I did everything but what I did, the first thing we did was once we said yes, we sat down and planned it. That night, I put a post out. We even made shirts that had the date 1/20/2020. We made that determination. It was 3 months from
Put it out there.
It was October 20th when we made that decision. And it was like, boom, that's when we had that meeting. So 3 months to the day, we're like, we're coming out 1/20/2020. And it was perfect. We're like, that sounds so cool. Made shirts, gave it out to my local friends, local car guys, put stuff on the internet, started building this table that right here, this everything behind me. We started just formulating this idea. I watched other people's podcasts, try to see how we can do what we do, like getting ideas, using that as a blueprint, but making it our own.
Yep.
And we did that, and we did it every single day. We did it consistently, 3 days a week, Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Sunday nights. And we did it from like 11 o'clock at night to 2:30 in the morning with the full-time job, getting up the next day, going and doing what we had to do. But we were working on it, practicing our craft, recording ourselves, trying to figure out what format. And then we recorded a bunch of shows. We had I think 5 ready to go right when we released.
We started off with 5.
And it was all audio at the time. We had video, but we didn't release we didn't release that. We just released audio. But then we started, okay, let's do some audio or video, excuse me. And we did that, and it just grew. And it just every step of the way as we came up and we realized and we got the confidence, we saw more, our vision got bigger. And we have such beautiful recordings, and I'm going to cut it short after this, but we have recordings of us from when we first started, man. And I remember watching these videos, and then Lou would leave here. It's like 2 a.m. and I'm watching it, and I'd call him, you home yet?
Like, yo.
and he's like,
just listen to it.
He was like, dude, I just listened to it all, man. And bro, we have something here, man. I know we do. And man, I'm so excited about this. I remember having those, and like the visions and the things that we put out. That's what's so beautiful about
We said so much,
right?
And
that became the people I wanted to interview, how we were going to interview them, what we were going to do. It all became everything that we put out. Oop, what happened? Did I lose a camera here?
Yeah, you lost the camera.
But everything we put out, hopefully, okay, we there? Okay, no, what happened?
No, what happened?
All right, let's see if that fixes it in a second. I have other cameras. I should probably switch. That's what I should probably do. But yeah, I don't know what happened there. Camera 2, maybe? No. Let me get my camera back on.
There we go. There's your other camera.
Let's see if I can switch back to the original real quick, and if that'll work. Yeah,
there you go. Right. We're back.
So that being said,
the beauty of editing.
Right? But no, it absolutely best experience. Everything that we put out there, words become things, writing things down, becoming organized. I have booklets like this filled of just every step of the way, what equipment is the best equipment to get, all this stuff. I watch videos, I educate. 30 minutes a night is key to life, folks. Educate yourself for 30 minutes a night on whatever you want. And within the first month, you become a master at a lot of stuff already, more confidence. But just do it. What's 30 minutes? You could do
no. So just again, for all the listeners here, want to remember it was the plan, sit down, do it, put a target date to launch, right? Because I was bad about that. I had talked to a year or two, Michael Cirillo, Dealer Playbook. He was the one who said, Glenn, please just do it. You have a voice, go do this. And I just let the business pull me aside. And then all of a sudden I finally, same thing, put a line in the sand. My other friend, Corey Mosley, would go, I'm tired of hearing about it, Glenn, just do it. And so same thing. So you got to put a line in the sand and then plan and then do your research. Same thing. I started out wanting to be a YouTube channel and audio. So I was the reverse, where now it's leaning a little more to audio. More people consume more time on audio than wanting to watch, but maybe I chop it up on the video. So always constantly looking at new people, listening to podcasts, watching people. I think that's really important, but it is that plan, because unless you put something down on paper, it stays in your head. And then what I love also about your podcast, and I've watched some of your streams and followed, do my research on you guys, is the banter between you two. Right. And that's one thing with just interviewing somebody. But when the two of you are just talking, it's like you're interviewing each other. And that also has that infectious energy of what you're trying to accomplish. So Lou, your piece now. So talk to me about Certified Solutionaries.
The Certified Solutionaries, we are an agency that is committed to knowing the way, showing the way, and going the way with those that want to partake with us. And it's from all commodities, from whether it's coffee to cars to RVs to a call center. We want to be able to bring the caffeinated culture and leadership there. So
Right.
specifically in the auto industry, we have proven processes that we know work, that can take people to the next level. And that's on the heartbeat of understanding that you can build up your people into being stronger people, and you will have a powerful, strong business. And it's been part of the culture that we've created where we are, and
Right.
some of the areas that we were fleeting in. Right, we would be inside of a community for a little time. We'd inspire some salespeople to step up, become great people, see them as managers later on. That culture, that language, is what we want to share with dealerships all over. But not everybody needs, a venti, iced mocha,
Right.
with the whipped cream and the extra frills and thrills. Some people just need a little cafe cubano, right? Just a little shot of espresso. Whatever the case is, we just want to help people find themselves in brewing solutions and being part of a culture that is committed and says it loud. We are going to find solutions to problems, no matter what it is, from our customers to our family that we work with. We want to help bring those tools. And what we've been able to do with the show and with the relationships that we've built is
Right.
have connections into everything from technology to leadership to ancillary F&I products that can be injected into a store that help it go from wherever it is to lining up the right processes to scale to wherever you dream to be.
Right.
Some people don't want
Right.
to be a 900 car store. Some people are okay with being a 150 car store, and that's their big dream because they're at 25 right now. We
Right.
want to help those that want to go where they want to go use whatever the tools are, have access to it, and do it in a way that they have the most fun possible, but it's congruent throughout their entire culture.
Right. So
And
it
that's
sounds
what
like
we wanna do.
what you're doing is you're taking your system that works for you. You're not imposing it on someone else, but you're understanding how to talk to these other individuals and say, well, what's your goal? What's your end game?
Right.
What are you trying to get to?
Right.
And then you're helping them remove obstacles that are holding them back from it, be it either mentally here or process or training or the wrong people, whatever it is. What I like about that concept is you're not imposing, saying, okay, forget it. You guys are all horrible. You have to do it my way. You're
No, some
saying
people
this,
are doing it
right.
great.
Or
Yeah.
even if it's different, it's okay. It's like you said earlier. It's like going to Starbucks, getting a cup. I ask your name, I write it down for you. Now I'm going to figure out what you want. Do you prefer to have do you need a BDC? Hey, great. Hey, what about this? What is hurting
Right.
you right now? Oh, great. Here's what we got. Let's put some caramel in here. Oh, you actually need a bigger cup. Let's get you a
Right,
venti.
Right.
More,
Right.
Have
Right.
you know
more
what?
capacity,
You
right?
just need this little shot, very quick shot, and we can come in and out, and then we could just support and make sure it's accountable. That's it.
Exactly.
And
Right.
and that's what we want to provide. We want to provide a very easy process for people. And Lou said it so nice, and you're explaining it exactly right on. We just want to make sure that people have the best experience. We don't want to impose anything. We're here to help. We haven't even, we're just now starting to slightly pitch this stuff, and we don't even know how to, because we just want to help so much that to me, it's more just being honest with people. Just like when you talk to people about buying a car, just like when you meet your wife, the first time you met your wife, just being honest, being who you are. Hey, I'm Fred. Nice to meet you. Everything that we've done in life, the best things that we've done was when we were just straight humans to humans, talking to each other with pure empathy and love, and making sure that we are there to help solve their pain and make it feel better.
But that's where your solutions, again, it's not your solution, it's their solution.
Right.
It's
So
theirs.
there's a completely different mentality of
Right.
going in to say,
This is your cup.
this is your cup.
You're drinking this.
Well, yeah. And you know what? A lot of times my philosophy when I go in, like, again, we don't even have a huge consulting business. We have enough, but that's not, we have an agency. But when I go into the dealers, my job first is to say, before I change anything, what do you think is supposed to be happening? Like, what's your process, right? If I came into Lou's store, Lou said, I'm struggling here. Lou, what should be going on? Now let me go see if people are doing what you think they're supposed to do. Because a lot of times, if I can just get them to do what you want them to do 100% of the time, maybe we only have to tweak one thing versus you think we have to throw everything out. But again, it's not my solution.
Right.
It's I'm helping your team achieve what you want, because eventually I have to leave. I can't stay here, right? But I like that idea of helping people, guiding them and telling them, no, don't worry about this. This is going really well. That's good. Here's where we want to tweak a little bit. And sometimes, like you said, sometimes that I need a bigger cup. Sometimes they need a little something in it.
Right. Right. And so the idea of it's your brew, it's your cup, it's what you enjoy drinking is what we want to get to. And if you're not tasting it the way that you want to taste it, that's fine. Well, let's help you figure it out. So many people do ask us, well, what specifically would you do across the board in all things? And again, it would go back to where we were first started, is figure out who you are in your market, dealer.
Let's reverse engineer. If what you're drinking doesn't taste good, we got to reverse engineer and figure out what's in the cup and what should be in the cup, what shouldn't be in the cup, right?
Whipped cream, why do you keep putting it in your cup?
Exactly. Exactly. All right. So I'll as we wind this down, I could talk to you two forever. This is fun. This is fun stuff. Okay. So the way we wind down this show is we have some rapid fire fun questions, don't have anything to do with anything. So just think, answer really, really quickly. Then I have one last question. Then we'll get into how they can find you. And then you have to teach me the
focus fly.
Right. I said, see, I do my homework. All right. So either you both can answer. So let's see. First one is one thing that you have to do every day to get your day started off on the right foot. What's the one thing you do?
Make my bed.
Okay. Lou?
Spend time with Christ.
Okay. What makes you laugh? Really belly laugh?
Watching Lou mess up on something.
My kids.
Okay. What's a guilty pleasure food for both of you? Because you both look like you're in good shape. So what's a guilty pleasure food?
Oh man.
Gummy bears. Oh, I could tear them whole bag up.
What do you think, Lou?
Any kind of banana cake, banana
right.
anything.
Banana anything. All right. Movie or show that you always stop and watch when you run across it on TV?
Ooh, that's a good one. Whoo. Ooh.
Friends.
Forrest Gump.
All right. Favorite cartoon as a kid?
Ooh, Thundercats.
He-Man.
All right. Tell me a skill or something you love to do that other people would not know that you have that skill or you like to do.
That they don't know.
It would have been guitar, but I just played one the other day.
I know. I see you now playing guitar.
Yeah.
Cut hair.
I got challenged. Wow. Yeah. He can cut the heck out of hair. He fixes my haircuts when I used to have long, short hair, but something, I skateboard really well.
All right. Let's see. Two more questions. A comic book character that you would, all right, Lou, I want you to describe the comic book character that Fred would be. And Fred, what's the comic book character that Lou is?
Wow, that's a good one. That is a good one. That is a very good one.
Usually I ask what you think.
This is Iron Man.
That's Iron Man. All right.
Iron Man. He's definitely Iron Man.
This would be.
Oh, you better hit this. We answered a post one time, and there is one comic book character that I absolutely really share a heart with.
I don't know who it is now. Shazam?
Bam! That's
Shazam! That's who he is.
Shazam. Look at that. You got it right there. All right. Two last questions. All right. For both of you. If I sat with your close circle of friends people who know you,
Mm.
what's the one word they would use to describe you?
Ooh.
Mm.
Energetic.
That's a good word for him. No doubt about it. I would say for me, man, loving,
There you
very
go.
loving. I
Look at
love.
this. I think this is the first. I'm going on record that I think this is the first time you two have been paused or stumped when anybody asks you questions. So that's good. All right. So here's the last question, and then we'll get into how people can find you and contact you. Out of everything we talked about, we touched on a lot of things, but for each of you, if you had to pick one thing out of our discussion for the last 45 minutes or so that you wanted the audience to take away, what's the one thing you hope they really lock into and use? What would that one thing be out of everything we talked about? And they're going to watch it all, but what's the one thing?
Well, my one tip for you today would be find out the hero that you actually are. I would want everybody to take whatever that you're consuming and use it to make you better, not to be at awe of what other people are doing in industry, not to be afraid of what you are or not doing, but take whatever's here, filter out of it something that can energize you to be the best you. Take that.
That's
extract it all.
money.
That's
Right on the money.
Love that. All right. What about you?
I couldn't agree with him anymore. If I was
Okay.
to take one thing here, is just everything that we do, we are ourselves. I love Lou. I love the way Lou is. I love everything about him. He used to be so worried about talking too much. Talk, because that's who
Right.
you are, my friend. Don't let anybody stop. Don't put baby in a corner, right? So
Yeah.
always be yourself. Be authentic, truly authentic, crazy or not, be you. And trust me, at first you're going to get some little restriction, but at the end of the day, people are going to love you for you. And that's
Absolutely.
what people want today. They want the real. Be
They
real.
want the real. And it also, it also allows you to always remain true. Because if you're always you, then you don't have to remember who I was with Lou and what did I say to Lou versus this is who I am. All right. So audience, they need to know, where do they connect with all of you, be it socially, tell me where they can find you and share with
you. carguycoffee.com. And you can go to the swag shop from there. You can go get your coffee from there. We've just made available the opportunity for people to buy the smaller bags of coffee to be able to give away. People loved those at the digital dealer event.
Great.
You can go there, access that. If you want to reach out to us, you can just reach out right there, get some more information about what we're doing. carguycoffee.com. And then Fred, Lou, anywhere in social media, you can find us.
Yeah, but I'll tell you, if you're trying to, if you want a free consultation, any dealer out there, salesperson, and you just want to sit down, we do free ones. We just talk to you, see what you're about, see how we can help. A lot of times the help's what I've done. Most of the ones I've done have been 100% free. And at the end of the day, all I do is tell you a quick tip. Hey, work on this, show me some improvement. I'll be there to support you, social media and everything, because I'm here to caffeinate the culture, folks. Let's make it change. Let's change the game. Fred at carguycoffee.com, Lou, Lou at carguycoffee.com. You can reach us at either one of those spots. I promise you, we will respond. We're here to help. We're here to help you grow, and whatever it takes. If you need us a little bit, you get us a little bit. You need a lot of bit, we're going to give you a lot of bit.
Right. So if you need a little espresso, you get that. If you need the big one,
whatever you want, just give me a holler.
And this isn't base model coffee, right? We're not base model coffee. This is the
listen, that I did not expect
100% organic, folks.
No, but across the board. Right, from our coffee brand to the podcast to the coffee itself, we want to make sure that there's real, true people that you're dealing with. Relationship over revenue, people over profits. We want to make sure we make real connections.
All right.
Well, listen, both of you, I want to thank you so much for being here. All right, so let's do we got to explain here.
That's the one thing. If there's anything you can get from us, folks, it's to wipe off the weight of unforgiveness, focus on where it is that you're going, and fly to heights that you've only dreamed of so that you can keep growing. On three. 1, 2, 3. Forgive, focus, fly, and keep growing, keep growing, keep growing. That's how we do it.
Listen, I did my homework. So again, thank you all. Thank you both for being here. For all of you that are hanging out with us all the way through and coming back multiple times, Again, please connect with these gentlemen, follow them, follow their podcast. You are going to get so much out of it. It has just been so much fun chatting with you. So again, if you got this far, don't forget to subscribe to this podcast. Make sure you share it out. A lot of people can use what both Lou and Fred shared today. Throw your comments down below. Love to hear what you're chatting about, or if there's a topic you want to talk about, I will find the person to bring you value. And as I say at the end of every episode, you're in charge. But now Lou and Fred gave you a few more tools to help you become more successful in both your personal and professional life. Thank you so much for your attention, and I will see you next time around.